work even easier for you. What's going to be really hard for you if you had to do it on your own is filling in all of the little boxes where it says the articulations in your book, starting on page, what book is it? Yeah. So there's all these boxes that you see right here. I remember when I filled those boxes in, it took me 6 hours to do that. Mainly because it was hard just figuring, you got to complete the sentence. And so it's hard figuring out in the mind of whoever wrote this what he was thinking of. All right. So it took a little time. So I figure if I can save you 6 hours, okay, then I'm doing a good job. Okay, because really to learn all the other parts of these little bones is really like about 40 minutes worth of work. And then however long it takes you to memorize that. And that'll be different for everybody. Okay. So let's do that. I'm going to go through these. Now, back in the day, if you go back to page, I think, 28, the articulation started with the axioskeleton. You already learned that the posterior condyles of the mandible and the mandibular fossa of the temporal bone form the TMJ joint, right? That should have been on last test. It shouldn't show up on our next test, okay? The fact that C1 articulates with C2 should not be on our new test. Okay, and the fact that C1 articulates with the occipital condyles of the occipital bone with the superior facet of C1 should also not be on our next test. But I've seen stranger things. Okay, so make sure you know those articulations as well. So where we're going to start today is the articulations that start with the pectoral girdle. All right. Now here's how I want you guys to do this. Okay, and it's important that you do exactly what I say because it'll piss me off if you don't. No, I'm just kidding. You won't get the benefit, okay? Because here's the thing. When we leave here, we should be able to know all the articulations from the collarbone all the way down to the foot. You should know those when you leave here, at least 90%. You might get fuzzy on one or two, but for the most part, remember how we did the molecules? I showed you some molecules, and then we added one, then we went through them all. Then we added another one, then we went through them all. Then we added another one, and we went through them all. As a result of going through all of them that many times, we just learned them. Okay? And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to say with me and recite what we're going to be doing. Don't worry about filling in the lab book. When the time comes, I'll say, okay, let's fill in the box. Okay? And then I'll read it, and you'll fill it in. If you're busy filling it in, you're not doing the rhyme and the song and the stuff, okay? And so it's like your frontal brain is working when your parietal lobe should be working, okay? And when your parietal is running, your front processor, prefrontal cortex should be setting up the linear constructs of what we're learning. And if the frontal cortex isn't working when we're doing it, then you're not getting the information that you need, because see, that's how your brain works. Fortunately, what you write uses in the parietal lobe slightly the temporal lobe where Wernicke's area is in. And so all of a sudden, your frontal cortex shuts off when you're busy writing, okay? So we don't want you to have an intelligent notebook when you leave. We want you to be intelligent when you leave here. So if you use the prefrontal cortex at the right time, and you use the Wernicke's area and Broca's area at the right time, and make those two work together the way they should, then you should be able to come out of here learning a lot of stuff, okay? Now, after teaching this for 14 years, I've got myself prepared for the two types of students, okay? There's going to be a couple of you that at some point are going to look like deer in headlights. You're just going to be, and you're going to stop writing. Then the deer in headlight look goes in, the arms get crossed. And now you're doing this. You're pissed. I don't know why. I mean, I can't help it if you're not smart enough to do this. Okay? Or maybe you're not listening to how I told you to do it, and that's why you're not getting it. I don't know. Okay? Then the third one, and this happens a few times, sobbing and wailing of teeth. You know? What I'm trying to say is don't resist it. Okay? You're going to hear a lot of information that are words that you've never heard before. Okay? And what you can't do is, you know, you only have circles, squares, and triangles to put your information in, right? Remember when you were a little kid, you had a little table in front of you? You put all the squares in the squares, all the triangles in.